Yeah, welcome back to the next video. There is a network models inside the network models inside the network. So coming to the networks, in the last previous class, we have seen data communication definition and what are the components we need to form communication, and same thing, different types of data flows, and different types of topologies also. So in this session we are going to be talk about different types of network models which we are having inside the network. So there are two different types of network models. The first one is an OSI reference model, and one more is an TCP IP reference model. The first one is an OSI reference model and TCP IP reference model. These are the two different types of network models we are having in the syllabus of networks. So what is an OSI? It's an open coming to OSI reference model. It's an open system interconnection. So this is a basic reference model we are using here. And before going to be these network models, first thing, why should we talk about these two reference models? Why should we talk about these two network models in here? So because of whatever the data we are sending from one device to another device, every data goes through in the format of layers. Not only in the format of layers. At every layer we are doing some mechanisms. It's nothing but some process. We are doing some process at every layer. So not only the data where we are going to be communicate between the systems. In our daily life also, we are doing the process in a layer manner. Just observe this example. There is a sender and receiver. The communication is happening between the sender and receiver with the help of a letter. Just observe the higher layers, middle layer and lower layer. Higher layer, the sender is writing a letter and placing in an envelope and dropping in a mailbox. This is first layer. This is nothing but a first process. And the next is the letter is carried from the mailbox to the post office. There is a second process. In the post office, the letter is segregated according to the area wise and it is delivered to the person. There is a next process. So coming to this one, the same thing at the receiver, the letter is delivered from the post office to the nearby post office, and the letter is carried from the post office to the mailbox, and from mailbox to the receiver home. Same thing, whatever the work we are doing in the real life also, just we are dividing the work in the layers wise, in the format wise. So the same thing, we are doing the process, we are doing the transmission in the format of layers only. Coming to this one, the first network model is an OSI. It's an open system interconnection. Why you are naming it as an open system means the name itself indicating that this is an open for all. That means that every system or device can connect to the network, and send or receive the data. So that's why we are naming it as an open system. It's an open for every device. It's not meant for only the high configuration systems, and it's not meant for only the low configuration system. It's not meant for only the routers, and it's not meant for the switches. The network is meant for every device, where the device can send and where the device can access. Send and receiving, where the device can having the capability of sending and receiving. Only that thing enough. Open system interconnection, we simply name it as an OSI model. OSI model, and it was introduced in the late 1970s. So coming to the basic introduction to this open system interconnection model, coming to this one, it was introduced, this OSI was introduced by ISO. It's one of the organization. Its ISO is nothing but Indian Standards Organization. There is an expansion. Indian Standards Organization. Indian Standards Organization. It was introduced by ISO, which was introduced. OSI model was introduced by ISO. Coming to the layers, 7 layers of OSI model. There's a very important 7 layers. Basically, everyone will learn from the bottom to the top. Every student and every academician will learn from bottom to the top. And same thing, they will remember all these layer names in an order wise from bottom to the top. The first one is an physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and application layer. Physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and application layer. So just we check what is a physical layer. See here, coming to the physical layer, what is the responsibility of the physical layer first? Just we check what is the responsibility. What is the responsibility means, here when the data receives to the physical layer do some process on the data. There is a responsibility. The physical layer is responsible for, so we already discussed that we are learning all these layers from bottom to the top. When we are remembering all the layers, when we are remembering all the layers from bottom to the top, and same thing we are going to be discussed from the bottom to the top only. Coming to the physical layer, what is the main responsibility of the physical layer means? It is responsible for movement of bits. Always the data will be transferred in the form of bits, that is in zeros and ones. From one device to another device. Always the data will be transferred from one device to another device in the form of zeros and ones, that is in binary form. So there is a main responsibility of the physical layer. It transfers the data in the form of bits from one device to another device. So there is a main process. And what are the mechanisms will be happen inside this physical layer means, there is a representation of bits, data rate, synchronization of bits, line configuration, physical topology, and transmission modes. So these are some properties and mechanisms which we observe at the physical layer. And this is a representation of physical layer here. So below physical layer, there is a transmission medium only. Above the physical layer, there is a data link layer. So this is a representation of data link layer. This is a data link layer. Above the data link layer, there is a network layer. And below the data link layer, there is a physical layer. And coming to the data link layer, what is the main responsibility of the data link layer means? The data link layer is responsible for moving frames from one hop to the other. What is the meaning of frames here? What is the meaning of the frames? Same thing. In the physical layer, we talk about the data as in bits, and coming these bits into the data link layer, we name it as in frames. Simple thing, just remember the words. In the data link layer, we name the data as in frames. In the physical layer, we name the data as in bits. That's it. And same thing when you can go for the network layer, we name the data as in packets. We name the data as in packets. I will write it in clear. Packets. We name it as in packets. So what are the main mechanisms here means? One is in framing, and one is in physical address, flow control, error control, and access control. And there is a next one is a network layer. See, this is a network layer. Top of the network layer is a transport layer. Below of the network layer is a data link layer. So what is the main responsibility of the network layer? The network layer is responsible for delivery of individual packets. See here, the word packets. Delivery of individual packets from source host to the destination host. That means that the network layer is responsible to transfer the data from, or we name it as in packets also, the data from one device to other. One device to other. The main responsibilities and the main mechanisms here are, one is in logical address and routing. What is a logical address means? Logical address means IP address. I think we heard the IP address. It's an internet protocol. Internet protocol. Internet protocol. IP address. And routing is one of the mechanism which helps to route our data from one device to another device inside the network. We learn these type of logical addressing, physical addressing, and port addressing. There are three different types of addressings we learn in the next coming videos here. And routing also one of the main important concept which we see in the networks in the next coming classes or in the next coming videos here. And coming to the next one, this is a transport layer. Above the transport layer, there is a session layer, and below the transport layer, there is a network layer. There is a network layer. So what is the main responsibility of that? The transport layer is responsible for delivery of message from one process to another process. So see here, coming to the transport layer, this is responsible to transfer the data from one process to other process. Process nothing but, in my system, I opened Instagram. In another system, Instagram was opened. Through the Instagram, I am sending the message to the Instagram only. The same thing, the message need to be transferred to the Instagram process only. Instagram process. The process is nothing but whatever the application running in our system, there is a process. So here, we are talking about service point addressing, segmentation, reassembling, connection control, and flow and error control that we check in detail in the next coming videos here. And coming to the next one is an session layer. Above the session layer, there is a presentation layer, and below the session layer, there is a transport layer. So this is a representation of session layer here. So what is the responsible of session layer here? The session layer is responsible for dialog control and synchronization. What is a dialog control? Dialog control nothing but we are creating a connection between devices. That may be connection oriented, that may be connection oriented, or connectionless. So these connection oriented and connectionless are very important. We talk about these two topics in the transmission in the transport layer. There is an TCP and UDP protocols are there. There we can check these connectionless and connection oriented protocol, connectionless and connection oriented communication. So as of right now, the session layer is responsible for creating a dialog control and synchronization. Synchronization nothing but creating a synchronization points at everywhere in our data. So these synchronization points helps in the future communication. And the next one is an presentation layer. This is a presentation layer, and above the presentation layer there is an application layer. Below the presentation layer there is a session layer. And what is the responsibility of the presentation layer? The presentation layer is responsible for translation, compression, and encryption. What is the meaning of a translation, compression, compression and encryption? Translation, nothing but changing from one form to another. Compression, nothing but we are reducing 2 GB of data to 1 GB of data. Just we are doing some compression techniques there. Encryption. This encryption technique is for the security purpose. We are encrypting our original content because to avoid unauthorized usage. Just an example here. Just an example. Just an example. I am sending in one of the packet which consisting of the word like hello. I added a source address and as well as destination address also. I'm sending the packet which consisting of the text hello. So when I use this encryption technique, there are so many number of encryption algorithms when you can go for cryptography. So when you can go for network security and cryptography, encryption techniques like AES, DES, and blowfish, and there are different RES algorithm. Sorry, or not RES, RAS, reversed Edelman Shamir, RAS algorithm. So these are the different types of algorithms or techniques which we use for the encryption. So encryption nothing but hiding of original content. So I'm sending a hello word. So no third party or no other person need to be access my content. What I'm doing here means I'm implementing some encryption technique on my content. So that will be changes into like this, like 1001 or 1, like this. I am converting my text message to the binary form. So no one will access this content, and even they will access, they don't understand what it is. So to convert my original text into this form, I'm using some algorithms like AES, DES, blowfish, and RAS algorithms. These are some algorithms which I use for this type of techniques internally. So these are all the main responsibilities of presentation layer. And what about the application layer? So this is an application layer. Below the application layer there is a presentation layer. Above the application layer there is no layers, just users are there. Users are using this application layer directly here. Applications directly here. So what is the main responsibility of application layer? Application layer is responsible for providing services to the user. It provides the services to the user. Defaultly, this application layer is providing services to the user. So these are the responsibilities of every layer. And coming in depth of these layers, actually observe these all 7 layers. Among all these 7 layers, there are 2 different types of groups. The bottom 3 layers belongs to one group and the top 3 layers belongs to one group. The bottom 3 layers belongs to network support layers. We name it as a network support layers, and the bottom and the above three layers defines that is an user support layers. User support layers, and the middle one transport layer that passes the data or that makes the bridge between user support and network support layers. Why we name these user support layers and network support layers means the bottom three layers supports for the network. It's like all these three layers are the combination of software and hardware components, softwares and hardware components. Coming to the user support layers, all these three softwares are made up of with the softwares only. So we name it as an user support layers here, and we name it as a network support layers here. Network support layers here. And in the next coming session, we go in depth of every layer, and what happens at every layer we check it. Okay, thank you. We'll see in the next coming class. Thank you.